Morning from the top of the Ziegler house. So one more sheet, one more half a sheet. We're gonna get this ceiling done and get our boom lift out of here. We'll start working on some lights and stuff. I can hang all the lights this way. These last 2 bays, I'll have to wait until later in the summer probably. I don't know. We'll see, but we're making progress. We got our last sheet here ready to go, so we still got those angle braces. Every bay on both sides of it, we've got to deal with those angle braces on top and bottom. So the bottom here, we just need a notch that'll fit over the one in the middle where the sheets overlap, and then on the top there we've got to slice it in from the side and cut out a square where that goes. And then we've also got to rip this sheet lengthwise, so we've got a chalk line here where we need to slice that end off. And I got these Milwaukee shears to do that. They work pretty good. All right, it's starting to look like we're almost done in here. We're getting close, getting close. So we got our door tracks back up there, so everything is functional, operational. I got more conduit that's got to come down here. This is harder conduit to just take down and leave it because it's my switches and lights and that stuff. So I think we're gonna call it on the ceiling for right now. And like I said, we'll address this later in the year, late spring, early summer, somewhere in there. But in the meantime, I might work on hanging some of the lights and the conduit like I did on this side for that. But we've got to get, this lift can't be in here anymore while I'm getting seed in. I've got too much seed and I need the space, and so I'm going to take it outside and park it. It could come in for a day if we wanted to work on something, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty darn good about where we're at with that ceiling. And we got another seed truck coming today, and a lot of that seed's probably going to get put in this corner, so we're going to move some stuff out of the way and go back down to the farm, keep working on our tractor, I guess. Should we see if we can get a 20,000 pound boom lift stuck in the snow? I bet I'm capable, especially given where I want to go put this. Over there. Xander stayed late last night and wire wheeled off the other half of this rim. This is the inside. We're not going to take it down to bare metal. That's taking too long. So, but I decided that, you guys will yell at me if I try and use a brush to paint these, so we're probably going to have to spray them. And if I'm going to spray them, we're going to do both of them at the same time because I don't want to have to clean the gun out 15 times going back and forth. So we're going to get this blocked up here and take the other side off, and then get that side cleaned up so we can paint them both at the same time. Okay, well, there's another rim. So yeah, you can definitely tell the sun has faded these. I don't know if it's as noticeable now, but the inside is brighter than the outsides are. So anyway, we'll clean this up, clean up the outside pretty good, and get the inside so all the rust spots and stuff are off of it, and then we'll get some paint on it. Probably not today. I should paint. I should do this before Monday, so we can put them on Monday though. We might paint this afternoon. Depends on how fast Xander is, right? Yeah. Okay. I had to cut up a few boards for a project I'm working on at my house here. You guys remember when I told you Dad was making his own joist? Yeah, he's in the middle of that project. He's getting his 2x4s grooved out to glue his 2x10s in. Here's what we've got. Here's the mock-up. Are those not going to be the strongest joists you've ever seen? By the time he glues that, he's going to put them out like this a little ways, I think, so that he can splice two of them together. And then glue that and then screw down through it into it, top and bottom. Yeah, I don't think this barn's going anywhere anytime soon. You know how people look at buildings and stuff that was built 100 or 150 years ago and marvel at the workmanship and craftsmanship and how much attention to detail that people put into stuff and how much better things were built then than the crap that we build now is? They're going to say that about this barn 150 years from now. Like, man, look how good of a job they did on this way back then. Yeah. They're not all that way. That's not standard. This one seems to be going faster. I'm getting there. I'm going to lunch. Okay. We'll get our alternator put back on when I get back from lunch. We're going to get our new alternator put on. You guys seem pretty confident that this thing's going to fail on me pretty quickly, so I don't know. I think it'll be just fine. Anyway, I got that hub put on there and tightened up, so we're done with this until this breaks. This is not a clutch on here. It's, I can't remember what they call it, a decoupling pulley or something. Decoupler pulley. It spins in one way but not the other. It's just, I think, meant to protect stuff, and I don't know. It works and it's still good. All right, you guys want an I told you so? Let me tell you were right. It doesn't fit. It does. It just, so we have this tab here on the new one that this one does not have, and it's hitting the bracket, so we got to just grind it. Really don't even need much. I mean, I was right on the edge of the hole, but we're gonna hit that with a grinder. We'll see if that's enough. Got it in place, so get our bolts tightened in and get our belt back on, and then we'll figure out where the electrical stuff goes. Xander took that off, so he might have to put it back together. All right, time to start the cleanup and smashing process so we can get some paint on our rims. How am I going to make those stand up without being held like that so I can spray both sides and paint it? Good question. All right, we got this other rim cleaned up, ready to go. It'll work. It'll be fine. We're going to put some heavy primer on it. It'll smooth out a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Anyway, my plan here, trying to figure out how I can have these tires upright so I can paint both sides without being hung from that strap. So I think we're going to use a forklift here and just lean them up against the sides like that. And then I can get between them, do both sides. So we're going to get some paper, throw it on the floor. I'm going to look at my spray guns, get one out, cleaned up and ready to go. And we'll get the primer sprayed on them. Phil went to the John Deere store earlier today to get some parts for the backhoe. I had him pick me up a can of this John Deere Buff primer sealer. This is good stuff. I've used it before, so we use that for the primer. Problem is you got to wait 36 hours before you put top coat on. So we're going to have to wait till Monday to paint yellow. It's not exactly a sterile paint booth, but it's clean enough for what we're doing. I Got my paint gun out, cleaned it up a little bit. Got a little old dried paint off a few spots, made sure everything is nice and freed up, moving good. So that is ready to go. We've got both of our tires stood up by the forklift here, blew off all the excess or dust and anything, and we're working on getting the tires taped off. So, gonna be a little bit. Well, this isn't real pretty here, but it should be reasonably effective at keeping the paint off the tires. So we're out of paper. I got to roll down to my house. I'm gonna go grab in some more tape. All right, well, we are almost done masking there. You got a few spots to fill in yet where we had some gaps and stuff, but I'm gonna start mixing up some paint. We're gonna get this on there. It is 4:45 and I've got stuff going on tonight and we need to get this done so it's dry by Monday. So let's get to mixing. Let me get my stand. The John Deere dealers don't exactly have paint shakers behind their counters, so it was pretty settled out and separated. I'm gonna take a little stir in here to get everything back in suspension, but we'll get there. Should look and see if we've got any primer or thinner. Might need a little thinner to go through this spray gun. I did find a little bit of paint thinner, lacquer thinner, and mixing cup here that's got a little John Deere green on it from whatever the last thing we painted was. Cornhead last year, maybe? That's my guess. Anyway, we're going to put this in our paint sprayer and see how it goes. I am fully aware I should have a mask on. It's going to take me 10 minutes here. This is not going to take long enough for me to mess with it. I was right. That was a 9.5-minute clip, so we're good. Clean her up and be done. All right, got the gun all cleaned out. She's good to go. Let's see how we did. It looked pretty good. I was actually impressed putting it on. It smoothed it right out. I was worried that you were going to see the scratch marks from the wire wheel and stuff and the grinders, but I pretty well hit all that. I mixed up almost the perfect amount of paint. I was just running out. Right there's a little thin spot, but it'll be okay. That was why I did the outside of that one first, because I wanted to make sure that the bare metal, the stuff that we had taken all the way down, would be okay. Yeah, we had a few grinding marks there and stuff, but now that looks good. So we'll let that cure here over the weekend. Come back on Monday and give it a couple shots of John Deere Yellow, and they'll look better than the rest of the tractor. Dad made himself an air filter for the wood shop here, and he's like, I'll bring that. You can use it. It'll suck the paint out of the air. It did too. Dang, look at that. Wow. I'm impressed. Well, it worked. I had the exhaust fan on as well, so. Anyway, I know, it's not too bad in here though. And there's enough dust on everything else that it'll wipe off. Bought myself a hitch receiver for my truck. We'll talk about that later. I don't have time right now. Anyway, thanks for watching today. If you have any questions or comments and you want to yell at me for not wearing a mask while I was painting, or whatever other PPE you think that I'm supposed to wear for whatever we were doing today and didn't, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'm aware, but you know, call me out anyway. Yeah, boys have basketball games tonight. They've been doing the 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade boys basketball camp at their school on Saturday mornings, and tonight they play at halftime of the JV and varsity games, and so we're gonna go watch them play tonight and tomorrow. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.